is based on a fair assessment of value, and this is quite difficult. Now, valuing of water related. So this is where economic value of water has a direct use, indirect use, offshoot role, and non-use and used. So in a diagram I have to show this. So I am coming to the valuation of water resource. Now, therefore we need to integrate water, ecosystem services, value and accounting into water pricing. So all these three are interrelated. Water pricing and management. Water management is that process involving planning and managing water resources to ensure their ongoing availability for various purposes. All the previous speakers have also mentioned somewhere along their presentations, the objective includes maintaining a secure water supply for present and future generations. This is what I wanted to say. Protecting water quality, mitigating the risks of extreme weather events like floods and drought, and safeguarding freshwater ecosystem health. Unless and until we do that, I don't know where we are going to get fresh water from. Payment for ecosystem services. Ecosystem accounting is work carrying out in order to keep track of the environmental consequences of economic activities. Such accounting can alter a perception about the kind of development that is desirable and in turn the policy choices we make. Now these are the barriers. If accounting is to be better integrated into water pricing, there needs to be much clearer communication of accounts and water accounting and how they can be used by decision makers. The decision makers play an important role. Investment in infrastructure and nature base. Now there are two, there is the grey infrastructure and there is the green infrastructure. Grey is man-made, green is natural. So we need to integrate both. Investing in water means investing in economic growth. Without the recognition of water-related ecosystem services, value provided by ecosystem enables a holistic and integrated approach, including both human engineered, that is, grey infrastructure and nature-based solutions to supply clean water without contributing to other ecosystem services and sustainability. Yeah, finished last thing. Key benefits: informed decision making, improved management, accountability. Forward path: developing a consistent system of ecosystem accounting and valuation will require consistency of approach and clarity of purpose. A variety of valuation techniques are needed to assess economic drivers causing water pollution, because there are different parameters and different objects which we have to consider. The use of various accounting and valuation techniques calls for an extensive search for data and an examination of available statistics. All these are missing and there is a lot of work to be done. So the cost benefit so finally I will conclude by saying that there needs to be an integrated approach. There is lack of data, and the approach in the sense integrated approach not for the system but for the various faculties like economics, environment, management, because unless all these different sectors come together, we cannot quantify what are the problems with the water environment, all the different, and only then come to a solution where we can think of conservation of this natural resource. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ram, for highlighting various aspects of water. Your expertise is reflected through your presentation, and perception of water and the concerns of water. And, what I really like was clear assessment of values. values may be different for different people, and something is fair to somebody but may not be fair to the other one. So how we, maintain that balance between the assessment and water accounting, significance and evaluation of water. This is important, and what you have rightly pointed out that the data availability and data generation is very, very important in this aspect. Thank you very much for your nice presentation. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Manarati. Thank you. So you will get your 3 minutes as we pass on to a little bit. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you to all the organizers, Forum Madam, and Nachiket also for inviting me here. I am not going to talk much related to economics because I am not that great in economics. Just a disclaimer for everybody. And already you have had so much amount of economics. So let us talk something about technology and one important line which is going to touch everybody's life, that if we cannot breathe, nothing else should matter. So I am going to discuss most of the topics about environment and specifically air quality because that is my area. This is a news flash from your past year's January month during the winter season, where the cases of air pollution related disorders or specifically COPD, that is chronic obstructive pulmonary disorders, have risen so much that the news has come in the newspaper. Now this is where people and researchers have to pay very much keen attention, that when the news comes in print media, we think, oh no, this issue is alarming. Till the time it is not coming in the front line of the news, we are not giving much weightage to the problem. This is how the things work in almost all the countries of the world. We are not exception to that. Okay, and what highlights over here are related to this. I hope some of you can read it. Like, do you know the air quality of your city? Unless and until every citizen is going to be educated and aware about knowing the air quality of the city, everything we do to improve the environment is going to be a thankless job, or it is not going to be rewarded to the researchers and the people who are working behind it. Okay, this is another thing. This is a disclaimer by government of Gujarat, and that is why we have to take this very, very seriously. When the government is saying if you have allergies, asthma or respiratory illness, then the air pollution episodes can worsen your every day whenever there are air pollution episodes happening around the city. Okay, so let us understand what this air pollution is all about. Okay, so Gujarat for the first time crossed 1 lakh cases related to respiratory illnesses, and out of that, approximately, this is just to connect it to economics, that the rate has doubled in just 6 years. Out of that, 25% from these cases are only registered in Ahmedabad. Okay. So, in last 6 years, if we calculate, the rate has doubled by or increased by 83% increase. So that is much tremendous and alarming call for everybody. Though the air pollution values are not way too higher as somebody might expect, but the cases related to air pollution illness are going up. Okay. So, and this is given by one of the doctors who is working for the government in the sector for treating the COPD related ailments. So he is clearly highlighting that one of the major causes for chronic obstructive pulmonary disorders can be air pollution, which has to be taken into consideration when the people are treated. So that is where now you bring in about the cost for abatement of air pollution and for the cost of treatment of these diseases as well. when you are trying to mitigate the pollution in the environment. Okay, so if we take about the global scenario, the global scenario also highlights that 36% of the world's population is exposed to critical and high level of air pollution related to fine particulate matter. So if I am supposed to explain you what PM 2.5 is or particulate matter 2.5 is, if you catch a spoon on a flame, what you get is a soot, those black colored fine particles जिसको हम लोग काजल भी बुला सकते हैं, right? So that fine particles, if you separate out one single particle from that entire layer of soot, that is PM 2.5. That much how fine these particles are, and they are going to have entry into your lungs, and some of them, if even which are much finer, that is particulate matter of the size of 1 micrometer in diameter, they might get absorbed directly into your bloodstream as well. Okay. So this is how the mechanism of pollution is going to impact. So first we are going to have pollution which is going to be entering into our lungs by different activities of human interactions and anthropogenic activities per se. It is going to be transported to the cardiovascular system, that is the system which is responsible for transmitting blood in the entire body. Further, it will reach to our different organs of our body, specifically the lungs, the livers, which are the primary centers for filtration mechanisms. Then we will be facing different ailments. It will start from blood. So that is the heart. The rhythm of the heart might get altered because we need lot of oxygen to be pumped into our body. And when these lungs are choked with this PM 2.5 particles, so it happens same way. आप लोगों ने कभी थिएटर में विजिट किया होगा तो there is an ad always playing in the theater. मेरा नाम मुकेश था, right? So at that time they spill your lungs and all the black colored liquid pours out from the lungs, which is tar in nature. These are fine particulate matters. They do not act or attack your lungs chemically. They just sit there and they compete with the capacity of the lungs to exchange oxygen with air. And when this pressure slowly increases, our heartbeat also increases because our heart needs more amount of oxygen to be supplied into the blood. And that's how your blood vessels face relaxation, contraction, cycle disruption, and the blood is left with large amount of CO2 and less amount of oxygen. Then, if prolonged, if not treated at early stages, people can have heart attacks, can have failure, and this right now is not absolutely connected with air pollution. They said, Madam has just said that we have lack of data. I also do agree and support, because connecting air pollution to person's illness or exaggerating those illnesses in the body, there is very limited research available for Indian scenario, so that we can confidently say yes, this disease or this mortality has occurred only due to air pollution. So there a lot of work needs to be done. So if we again come back to Ahmedabad, it has been ranked as 9th most polluted city in the world in the year 2014, and amongst the top 5 cities in India by the WHO. These are the stages. Now, if you want to mitigate air pollution, we will have to create out a 4-phase plan for mitigating air pollution. So it can go like, first we need to do monitoring and calculation actually how much of particulate matter or any type of given pollution, target polluter is present in the environment. Second, we need to understand and apply the policy measures to it. Then third, we can have those measures actually implemented in the field. Fourth phase will be evaluating and trying to find out innovations in the market. I'll be talking about some innovations which are being currently applied in the neighboring cities around Ahmedabad. Okay. So stage 1 for the monitoring, the city at present has more than 3,000 industrial units, 835 chemical factories and 511 foundries located either inside or on the periphery of the municipal corporation. Out of that, it also has 2 coal-fired thermal power plants, and the capacity of them being 800 megawatt and 400 megawatts, which is supplying the power to your entire city and to the industries, of course. Then, when it comes to monitoring, at present we only have 12 to 14 ambient air quality monitoring stations which are operating on continuous basis. That is, they will give you every minute by minute reading of the air quality. The manual stations which are there are only 14 in number. Imagine for such a huge city, we are having, if we add both of them, that is still 20 stations together. In addition to that, what we need is 1,500 more air quality sensors which can be placed around in the entire city with a right combination, just like Beijing has done when the Olympics were there in Beijing and they tried to clear the entire air quality and they dropped down their levels. Even this year also you can see where the current T20 International World Cup is going on. Colombo has planted so many green trees that their ambient temperature has dropped down by 2%, which is a major achievement for a small city without any technology. So with the technological innovators, like we are having hundreds of unicorns every year produced in India, so some of them can think on working on these kind of achievements. Okay. So these are the air quality monitoring stations. The circles represent the area for that air quality monitoring with 1.2 kilometer radius sufficient for one air quality monitoring station. This much part is still supposed to be brought under the air quality monitoring sensor network. And these are the data from previously monitored air quality or the satellite induced air quality monitoring for Ahmedabad city in the year 2018. And if we look at the picture in 2020 or projections for 2030, we can actually see the picture has got very dark. And if we compare them side by side, you can see that the central part over here and over here is projected to be getting darker. So much of the pollution is going to be concentrated at the city center. So we need now, with the policy analysis or with the environmental monitors and predictions, we are now knowing that where the pollution is going to be concentrated or likely to be concentrated. So what we are supposed to do? We are supposed to frame some policies in the stage 3 so that we can implement them and apply them. Okay. So one of the policies of sharing the air quality data, like making everybody aware by air quality index. This is an index where your air quality goes from good to ugly or worse. Okay, and when this is done, you can share the data with any individual, and this helps even the people who are not literate to understand what the air quality is. Along with that, they are also supposed to communicate it on all the broadcast medias, including newspapers, radio, and that is why you see that every day on the leading newspapers, your air quality data is coming in the terms of AQI. So this is a policy measure which the government is taking to communicate whatever air quality is. The city also has an air quality management plan now, wherein the air quality data is also communicated to different departments so that everybody can integrate in and contribute to air quality management or air quality abatement. Okay, but the road is still far away, because when you see about the evaluation, the pollution levels which are going on, they are rising slightly at an alarming rate for Ahmedabad. Okay, so it is very important to rapidly set drones. This is one of the innovative measures which we can get, because the drones are now being used everywhere. We can also do vertical profiling of the ambient air, which is not done anywhere in India currently. And then along with that, we can have sensor-based monitoring network which can be placed over, because sensor-based monitoring will allow you on-time or real-time data at a very reduced cost. So those can be then further integrated into air quality modeling. Some of the success stories which I was supposed to focus on, but Madam has shared many of them from London about air pollution. So I restrict myself to only some. Surat has initiated an emission trading scheme from the year 2019, and they have been very successful because the industries are now asking the government to voluntarily participate in the scheme. So they receive what we call as certified emission reduction credits, and based on those credits which they have made available, they can be audited once the credits are verified, they can be sold to adjoining industries or any industries in a nearby area which are violating the norms for emission. And this last year onwards, I guess in 2023 onwards, not last year, 2023 onwards, Ahmedabad also has started this initiative. For that initiative to achieve or to reach there, we need a lot of groundwork. We need pollution profiling for all the industry. We need the cap to be set for each industry and each type of industry, because as per the Central Pollution Control Board, there are 51 different categories of industries which are operating in the country. So for each industry, the SSs are going to be different and the requirements is going to be different. Okay, so that is all from my side. Just before leaving this, I would like everybody to realize that the cost of one single cylinder for oxygen, which you might have realized during the time of COVID, was 500 rupees per kg. And if we corroborate that and further calculate or extrapolate this same data, and if we want to breathe in pure air every day, the cost will go to somewhere around 2.2 crore rupees for one single person for his lifetime, where we are expecting him to live only up to 50 years. Okay. So imagine that we are spending 2 crore rupees and that entire cost is subsidized or waived off for us by the environment, which comes under the ecosystem services what madam is talking about. So that is why we need to ask ourselves where this oxygen should come from, and then answer all those things related to economics later. Alright, so I'll stop here. Ma'am, I don't know whether I have exceeded the time.
Thank you. You were very within time, Dr. Bharati. It was really a fresh breather away from economics after many presentations, right? Air quality and so very nicely presented about the mechanism of pollution, impact, the stages of air quality, and different kinds of policy measures taken, and the data which you have mentioned about 2 crores plus for the air we breathe. I think the most I was discussing about the material balance model, and the nature is the most significant economic agent in our system which we ignore, right? And the level of the level of resources being provided which we ignore, that is the most important part. Right, that should be highlighted. So that's very interesting. And what you discussed, it was quite heartening to know about the ETS program in Ahmedabad, which is going to come up. It should come up in a big way. And thank you very much for your nice presentation. Thank you. Now I would like to invite Dr. Anurag Srivastava. Thank you. We're looking forward to your waste, burden, and resource opportunities.
Good afternoon. I hope I'm available. I wish I had been the last one, because all the eminent speakers have already spoken. There will be a lot of thought process and some of the ideas I have from them. So I did not bring my presentation, but my presentation is ready. Courtesy you and the morning session. When we are talking about circular economy, and we all know that circular economy, the concept lies in the fact that let waste in the waste management. The waste itself is the circulating resource, and it needs to come back for the recycling, reprocessing, and value creation. While coming in the morning, I had a lot of issues. First and foremost, traffic jam. There's a very difficult stretch, and those who commute from the SG highway. We moved from Ahmedabad to Gandhinagar. So it's 30% traffic versus 70%. So I asked my Uber driver to take shortcuts, and eventually after taking 10 minutes of shortcut, we landed to where there was a huge and chaotic traffic jam on that highway. And we came here, and then on the presentation we were going on that how many fly would build. Why are you not creating some autonomy? Why are we strengthening our public transport? We are from public administration. So we look for those policy gaps, policy interventions which have been made to make sure that the economy remains